Well, I don't know if it's fair to say at this moment that I have the man of the moment. This is the MEC from the Free State Tape. Mr. Mach, how did you do it? 93%. Because, even if you listen to how the minister announced it, and she spoke about that 90% barrier line, the 90% ceiling that has always been there, that all the provinces have been trying to break, and it's never happened before, and you and your team managed to do it. How did you guys make it happen?
Well, I think all credit must go to our teachers in the province, with my friend here, SATU. They are the biggest union, obviously, in our province. We are a rural province with a lot of challenges, and our approach has always been that we've got what we call Operation Hlasela, where everybody gets involved. You will see tomorrow when you go to our function that all MECs actually participate in supporting education. All mayors support education councils. Most of the members of parliament, I'm saying most of them because there's opposition there. Yeah. but most of them do support. So I think our only solution in the province of the Free State is to ensure that we work together as much as possible. But you can't take away from the hardworking teachers, you can't take away from the hardworking principals, the subject advisors, the parents. You would have seen, I'm sure my leader will also confirm here, that if you go to the province, you will see parents being very, 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 very active in the education of their children. And we have also involved community radio stations. But this is generally the support system that we create for the learner, so that now the learners themselves, if they walk during the street at around 10 o'clock, a business person can pick up a phone and say, MEC Mach, I see a child wearing this kind of uniform in the street. What's wrong? What's happening there? And then we can phone the principal and say, what's happening? And we've been getting those kind of things. And this is what the government have said, the way he says, the president in particular, President Jacob Zuma, when he said that we must make education a societal issue. Now, I think in the province, we actually have run with that. We have tried to make sure that now everybody participates in education, including ordinary workers, Shabin people. They know that they can't allow children to come and drink there. Well, there will be there and there where this is not running perfectly. But I think if you ask us, a small province like ourselves, how did we achieve this? I will say, firstly, is the teaching community and Operation Hlasela and involving the community.
Those are some of what the president calls the non-negotiables.
Yes.
And making sure even that you get the community involved.
Yes.
And one of those community leaders, probably in the schools as well, would be SATU, and we joined also by the Deputy Secretary General, or General Secretary rather, of SATU, Mr. Tolopi. Mr. Tolopi, of course, congratulations to the teachers. Any message that you would give to teachers now?
Firstly, is to congratulate the learners, which are the real ones. We have achieved these good results. And then just after them, to congratulate the teachers for a job well done. You must remember, this is in fact fruits of 12 years. You don't only congratulate the teachers of grade 12. You thank all the teachers who contributed in the development of these learners from grade 1 up to grade 12. And of course, we want to celebrate the achievement of the Free State with the MEC. I mean, achieving that kind of result is a result of him showing the kind of leadership that he would have shown in the province for some time. We have seen him doing this over almost 4 or 5 years now. It is not just by a stroke of luck that we have these good results of the Free State.
Yeah, that's what the minister said as well, yeah.
Yes, we've seen it happening for some time. That's why we want to thank him for his leadership. We want to thank him at least for working with the unions, because he realized that he can only achieve this if he work with all stakeholders and with unions in particular. Teachers are a key part of this kind of achievement.
I then wonder, why doesn't that partnership that you have with the MEC of the Free State work as well with the MEC of Education in the Eastern Cape? Because continuously the Eastern Cape is performing poorly. Most of the pooring performing districts are out of the Eastern Cape. It's the lowest performing province yet again.
But there's improvement. At least you would have seen that they've reduced that from 7 underperforming district, now only 5. We've also seen in terms of the overall percentage of the province of the Eastern Cape, they've improved. We also see that there's improved relationship between ourselves as a union and also the leadership of the Department of Education in the Eastern Cape. We're also excited by the appointment of the new SG in the province, and we think that moving forward, we will be able to see improved kind of results. The most important thing is an appreciation that you need to work with all stakeholders. It's an appreciation of how you support the teachers and also appreciate them in whatever they are doing. If you can appreciate the teachers, you're bound to get good results.
How important is that relationship between your department and the teachers and the teacher unions?
Extremely important. Actually, it's pivotal. Without it, we can't succeed. You know, in the province, I have regular meetings with various unions where, as an MEC, I can sit with them and they can raise all the concerns. It does not mean that
you'll agree to everything.
You'll agree to everything, yeah. Like last year, you know, they implemented a work to rule because of the leaked report and so on and so on and so on. But even after that, I approached them to say, but let's work together. At the end, is at the interest of the child. And then because they are the majority union, they agreed, we worked together, and everybody's celebrating now. Even other unions, NAPTOSA and all these others, we do meet, you know. But I try to make time that as MEC, I can understand that. The HOD of education also sits with the unions just to try and understand them so that we can solve problems before they become bigger problems. I think what I've learned in the Department of Education is a department of consultation. You know, you are leading professionals. You have to appreciate that. They are professionals. They know the job. I'm not a teacher. I'm a politician who wants to achieve certain deliverables that we have promised in an elections manifesto. But to be able to achieve those, I have to work with 36,000 teachers in the province of the Free State. And what is the best way of working with them is through their formations. And that's what we've been doing.
Some of those deliverables are, of course, the issues around infrastructure. And if I'm not mistaken, there are some districts, if I could be getting this wrong, I could be confusing it with another province, where infrastructure is quite poor in the Free State. I could be getting this wrong.
I probably think you're getting it very wrong. But I think even the challenges of infrastructure will always be there. I mean, education is not starting now in 1994. Many of the schools were built long before, and the infrastructure is going down. Some schools don't have all the requisite infrastructure to support learning. Halls, for an example, libraries, and all those kind of things are not there. But you have to, and I think that's where the consultation is important, where people to understand, where you open up and say, this is the amount of money we have. This is what we can do this year. This one we can do next year, and so on and so on and so on. Truly, if you don't get their support, you will not be able to implement anything meaningful.
Mr. Tolobi, just quickly before we wrap up, teacher training, quite important, and Umalus has also emphasized on this, and they spoke about how all of a sudden it seems as though when you look at maths literacy, it has now also become part of those subjects where students perform poorly.
Of course, and I think that's the kind of advice that we'll also want to share with the MEC. For him to be able to sustain this kind of good performance, firstly, we'll have to look at the question that we are raising about our indigenous languages. You'll come to realize that many of the children who are doing well in terms of Matric, who are getting the good results in mathematics, are the ones who are doing these subjects in their mother tongue, either being Afrikaans or English. So we'll have to address the question of how do we promote and develop our own indigenous languages, such that our children from the township should also be able to do these subjects in their own languages. We feel we can do that. Their performance will also be improved. But importantly as well, is also to emphasize the question of a firm foundation, early childhood development.
Yes.
You are guaranteed good performance. Learners will progress well in the system if they are based on a good early childhood development. So we think as we're moving forward, we'll have to talk about that. How do we formalize that sector? How do we deploy more resources into that sector? How do we resource it in such a way that we are able to also take our learners through a firm early childhood development? Like, for instance, in the suburbs, many of these children who are doing well in the suburbs is because they have gone through a firm early childhood development. So if you can focus on the question of our indigenous languages, promote them, and also focus on the question of early childhood development. But importantly, is to support, appreciate the teachers, like you are saying, by coming up with quality teacher development programs, continuous ones that will be able to be responsive to the challenges that the teachers are facing on a daily basis.
Well, we continue with the analysis of the Matric results that have just been announced by the Minister of Basic Education. We're sitting at about 72%, an increase from last year's 70%. And what we need to clarify, of course, continuously is that this number includes the progressed learners. When you exclude the progressed learners, the number stands at about 76%. It's back to you guys.